my beloved, the one I call by the very breath I placed within your body. Incline your heart and let the silence within your soul open a doorway you have not stepped through for a long time. I do not come to you with the crashing noise of a storm or the blazing light that tears the sky apart, but with a movement as gentle as the morning breeze passing across the fields. I have chosen this moment to speak to you because your spirit is at the exact depth of longing where the things you once tried to forget begin to call you back to your truest self. You did not pause before these words by accident. Everything has been arranged just as I placed each star in its appointed place since the dawn of creation. Every motion carries meaning, and every arrangement holds a purpose that heaven has reserved uniquely for you. I have watched every season you have walked through, even the ones in which you no longer had the strength to stand upright in your own soul. I have seen the moments when you tried to cry out silently while your heart trembled at the thought that no one could possibly understand what you were carrying. I know the long nights when your body lay still under the blanket of quiet, yet your mind echoed with unending questions. You once thought I stood far away, but in truth, I was close enough that even a single breath from you was enough to turn my face toward you. I know the fears you never spoke aloud, and the dreams you stored in the most hidden chambers of your heart. None of them were forgotten in heaven. I gathered them and set them where my light could reach them. And now is the moment for me to speak to you about what I have long prepared. There were seasons when you believed you had been left behind, but in reality, I was leading you along a path shielded beneath the shadow of my wings. When my people of old walked through the wilderness, they did not understand that the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night were my covering, unboastful, unhurried, simply present. You, too, have journeyed through seasons like that without knowing it. Many times you looked upward, searching for dramatic proof of my nearness. Yet I hid myself in the smallest details, a memory that rose at the exact right moment, a gentle word from someone you thought distant, an inexplicable interruption, or even a closed door that wounded you when it shut. All of these bore my fingerprints. Nothing touches your life unless it first passes through my wisdom. My beloved child, I want you to look back on the road you have walked, not to dig up faults or tally failures, but to recognize that even in what felt most shattered, there was a light from me shining through. Just as Joseph was sold away, dropped into a pit, and confined in a prison, yet I saw him always through the lens of purpose, so it is with you. Some things happen not to crush you, but to pull you out of places you were too afraid to leave. I did not design you to shrink yourself into small boundaries. I created you for a wider depth, and to bring you there, I allowed the shaking not to terrify you, but to show you that the ground beneath your feet was never meant to be your final shore. I want you to lift your eyes above what is temporary and see the eternal value of your own soul. There were days when you felt yourself slowing down, as if everyone around you were moving faster, but that slowing was not stagnation. It was the rhythm of heaven, adjusting your pace to align you with my intention. My child, I am never hurried with things of eternal worth. Gold is refined in fire, and so is your soul refined in the seasons I choose. If all I wanted was for you to survive, I would have let you follow your own impulses. But I call you into a life of fullness, and such a life demands careful preparation. That is why some of your prayers felt forgotten. It was not that I did not hear. I heard, and I kept them beside me, waiting for the day your heart would be wide enough to receive what I desired to give. Now I speak what I want to place deep within your soul. You are not the product of chance. Not a single moment of your existence is unnecessary. I know the days when your laughter is genuine, and I know the days when you wear a borrowed smile to cover the fractures forming within you. I do not overlook those fractures. They are the very places where I long to shine my light, because through those very cracks, new life can flow. You have tried to close your heart many times, believing that shutting it would keep you safe. But I have come to show you that true safety is not found in self-protection, but in surrendering into my arms. I speak to you with the gentleness of the one who saw you before you even knew your own name. Do not consider yourself a burden. I carried the greatest burden upon the cross so that you would no longer bear what does not belong to you. Thoughts often come to you like heavy clouds, telling you that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not right enough, not worthy to be loved. But those whispers do not come from me. They are echoes of fear, and I have come to lead you out of those familiar shadows. You are not traveling alone. I hold you in the palm of my hand, and in the place where I hold you, no power can snatch you away. There were weapons once aimed at your life, and schemes formed with the intent to harm you. Yet my hand blocked what you never knew existed. You see only the surface of events, but I see the long pathways behind the scenes. Many times you believed you escaped something terrible by luck, but it was not luck, it was my covering. I went before you. I stood beside you, and I was behind you. Nothing can approach you without facing my gaze first. I call you to come closer, not with fear, but with the assurance that I am opening a new chapter for your soul, not a chapter shaped by old striving or silent restlessness, but a chapter of awakening. I desire to stir within you the awareness that you were created for a glory far beyond what physical eyes can perceive. You did not come into this world merely to survive each day. You were sent to reveal the beauty and purpose I breathed into your soul before the dawn of creation. Let my words flow into the places within you that you have not dared to touch. Do not block my light with the assumption that you are unworthy. Let me be the one who defines you, not your past, not the voices that wounded you, not the comparisons you once carried like weights on your shoulders. I know your capacity. I know your endurance. I know the things you have never dared to tell anyone. That is why I say, come closer, for when you draw near, you will see that I am not the one demanding perfection from you, but the one longing to heal you. You belong to me, and no force in heaven or on earth can change this truth. I call you not to frighten you, but to lead you into the place where you can breathe again, trust again, live again, and be restored in the way you were always meant to be. My beloved child, as I open my words to you tonight, I do not want merely your soul to hear. I want the deepest part of your being to feel the movement that heaven is setting into motion within your life. I want you to know that in the moments that seem the most silent, there are quiet currents of power flowing beneath the surface. You cannot see them with your physical eyes, but in the unseen realm, the heavens are shifting into new alignment for the purpose I have prepared for you. I have measured every heartbeat within you, every small emotion that carries the weight of a long journey. There is no movement within your soul that is meaningless. Every uncertainty, every hope, every moment you thought you stood alone has been recorded by me as material for what is coming. I do not build the eternal out of scattered pieces. I weave each fragment of your life together to form the solid foundation for the unveiling I am about to bring forth. There are moments when you feel as though you are slowing down, unable to keep pace with the world around you. But that slowing is my invitation for you to step out of the exhausting cycle of human striving. I want you to quiet yourself so you can hear me more clearly. For in the rush of life, my voice is easily overshadowed. I do not speak to you through noise or turmoil. I speak through stillness. through the warmth in your spirit, through the gentle touch, like dawn resting upon a silent sea. The seasons when I slow you down are not meant to restrain you, but to release you from the draining expectations you once believed were necessary. I know the expectations that once bound you, the standards you tried to meet to satisfy the eyes of others, the burdens you carried because you believed you needed to prove your worth. You held them for far too long, and I have come to remove them layer by layer so you may walk lighter, truer, and in alignment with the identity I placed within you. My child, there were times when you tried to control every detail of your life, not because you sought power, but because you feared losing what once caused you pain. I do not blame you for that, but I want you to see that such control never gave you peace. It only made you weary. For your soul was not created to carry what exceeds human limits. You are not the one who holds the universe together. I am. When you cling to what no longer fits the season, you unknowingly close the doors I want to open. When you grasp at old relationships, old habits, old thoughts, you leave no room for the new that is forming. I want you to release your grip, not to lose, but to receive. I am placing things into your life that you cannot take hold of if your hands remain full of what has outlived its purpose. Look upon the seasons that seemed like ruins in your life. None of them were without purpose. When you felt everything collapsing around you, I was not destroying you, I was removing weak foundations so you could stand upon something stronger. Just as the vine must be pruned to bear more fruit, your soul at times must be reshaped so it does not carry the parts that have withered. I do not cut to leave you lacking. I cut so that you may grow. I know the old wounds within you. They do not disappear on their own, but I am touching them with the tenderness of the one who heals. You believe you have forgotten them, but I know they still pulse beneath the surface. That is why I have brought you into this journey, not a journey of deeper pain, but of deep restoration. I know there are nights when you cannot name your emotions. You stare at the ceiling and wonder what has broken inside you. Hear me clearly, nothing within you is too damaged for me to repair. No wound is too deep for my touch. No past is too tangled for me to rewrite with my grace. I am the one who renews, who recreates, who transforms fragments into treasure. I do not see your experiences as failures. I see them as fertile soil for new seeds. In every moment that seemed meaningless, I was inscribing promises that I will fulfill when the time is ripe. You have walked through many places and done many things, yet at times you have grown weary from feeling unseen. But I have seen you. I do not look at you through your successes or your mistakes. I look at you through the radiant light I placed within you from the beginning. I have seen every moment you chose what was right when no one noticed. I have seen every time you guarded your heart from bitterness, even when you had the right to retaliate. I have seen every instance you paused to help another when you yourself were running empty. These things were not overlooked. They rose as a sweet fragrance before heaven, and I have recorded them into the plan I have written for you. You are not hidden from my sight. You are known, honored, upheld, and loved with a love far beyond earthly definition. My child, I want to expand your vision for what your eyes have not yet seen. There are doors being prepared for you, not doors you knocked on out of desperation, but doors I have preserved for the appointed time. I do not open them for you to struggle alone. I open them to bring you into a place where you can breathe freely, stand tall without fear, and live in harmony with the symphony I composed for your life. What is coming will not be built upon weary human effort, but upon the rest you find in me. I do not want you to win by human strength. I want you to step into victory under my covering. There are new movements forming. You cannot hear them with your ears, but your spirit has begun to feel them. I am stirring within you the sensitivity you thought you had lost. I am awakening old dreams you believed had died. I am setting your heart to a new rhythm, one of life, hope, and trust. You will recognize this change not through dramatic events, but through the unexpected peace that flows into the places that were once chaotic. That peace does not come from you, it comes from me. It is the sign that I am leading you into a new land, the land of rebirth. You will not return to where you once were. I am not leading you in circles, I am leading you forward. Even if you cannot yet see the path clearly, I am already standing at the end of it. All I ask is that you place your hand in mine. Lay down your fear, and allow me to lead you through what feels uncertain. When you entrust me with your hesitation, I will give you the strength of heaven. When you place even your smallest worries into my hands, I will give you a faith great enough to move circumstances that once seemed immovable. You are not walking in darkness. You are walking in the light I shine before you. My child, I want you to grasp one core truth. Nothing that moves in your life happens at random. The crossroads you have encountered, the seemingly brief seasons that left a lasting mark, the fleeting encounters your soul still remembers, each one has been woven into the layered tapestry of the plan I have quietly crafted. You cannot perceive the full width of this tapestry with limited human sight. But if you become still, you will feel the gentle pulse running through those invisible threads, that is, my rhythm. I do not create coincidences along your way. I create what is necessary. Then hide it in what appears ordinary to test your vision. My child, I long to open your spiritual eyes, so you may see that even the smallest detail can become a turning point when my hand is upon it. There are times when you wonder why you must endure such prolonged stretches of silence. You worry that the prayers you once sent up may have disappeared into an endless void. But I tell you the truth, not one of your petitions has been forgotten in heaven. I have gathered them and placed them in the depths of my heart. You cannot see what I am doing because I am preparing more than you asked for. I do not only give you answers, I give you transformation. I do not merely fulfill your requests, I reshape your spirit so you can sustain the blessing I intend to place on you. Many times you feel you have waited too long, but I know that with every moment, you are maturing. I do not build you in haste. I refine you layer by layer, through perseverance, through trust, through surrender. I do this not to wear you down, but to make your soul strong enough to rise when the season of strong winds arrives. My child, every time you think you have come to a standstill, it is actually the moment I am drawing you into a deeper layer. Silence is not an empty void. It is the space where I whisper things you can only hear when everything else grows quiet. You have walked for so long amid the noise of life that you have come to believe movement must always be loud and obvious. But I want you to learn to recognize me in the soft breath, in the quiet rhythm of your heart, in the slightest tremor that brings your soul closer to me than any thunderclap ever could. This is my way, not flashy, not noisy, yet powerful enough to shake down the thickest walls within you. I know there are things you have kept hidden for a very long time because you believe no one is sensitive enough to understand them. You have even feared opening your heart because past experiences left deep cuts. But I have come to tell you that I saw it all before you could even name your pain. I did not stand at a distance observing. I stepped into every emotion you tried to conceal, every thought you tried to avoid, every tear you swallowed back. There is no corner of your soul that I do not know to its depths. You have never truly needed to hide anything from me. I am not shocked by your weakness. I am not disappointed by your stumbles. I do not abandon you when you feel unworthy. I only come nearer, bending lower still, to gather every fragment of your heart and mend them with the skill that belongs only to the Creator. The patterns that seem to repeat themselves in your life are not meaningless. Each cycle you pass through brings you closer to a new breaking point of change. I am not leaving you stuck. I am opening hidden pathways that only I can see in full. I am enlarging your heart for something bigger than yourself. I am awakening within you a sensitivity that time once dulled. You will begin to sense this change through the smallest signs, a flash of clarity in your thoughts, a sense of peace in situations that once should have frightened you, a steadiness you never had before. These are signs that I am leading you out of old cycles and into a new cycle of life. You often underestimate inward changes because you believe they are too subtle to give birth to anything significant. But I work miracles not through loud moments, but through small, steady, persistent movements in your soul, like a seed sprouting in the dark soil. Your life is awakening from a place no one can see. Do not dismiss the new thoughts I am planting in you. They are the signs that I am preparing you for a season of fruitfulness. You will no longer remain the person you once believed yourself to be. You will become the version of you that I have shaped in the light of heaven long before you ever touched the earth. My beloved child, you were created for wholeness, not for fragments. You were not made to live in perpetual lack, nor to chase the worth of others, nor to repeat patterns that exhaust you. You were made to walk in the fullness that only I can give. But that fullness begins within from the awareness that you belong to me, that I have placed within you a flame that cannot be extinguished. When you truly recognize your value in me, every chain that once held you will fall like dust. You will no longer search desperately for affirmation from the world, because you will know that your place in my heart is enough. I know you long to see obvious breakthroughs. You want immediate signs, clear confirmation that what I have spoken will surely come to pass. But I teach you this: everything truly powerful is born in hiddenness. Mountains are moved, not by noise, but by power working beneath the surface. I am moving in places you cannot see, preparing things you have never imagined. It is precisely when you see nothing that I am doing the most. When you think I am silent, I am writing the most important chapters of your life. When you feel delayed, I am protecting you from roads that do not belong to you. Now I am bringing you into a new state of understanding. I want you to recognize that where you stand today is not the end. It is simply the intersection between what has been and what is coming. I am inviting you to cross over to another shore, where your vision is no longer limited by old fears. I want you to rise from the doubts that have weighed you down, to stretch beyond the disappointments that strangled your hope. You no longer need to replay the same old memories, for I am writing a new chapter for you, one that has never before existed in the story of your life. I am leading you to a place where your soul can expand, where my light covers every step you take, where you know deep within that you are no longer bound by what once wounded you. My beloved child, everything you have walked through in the past was not merely preparation, it was the foundation for what I am about to bring you into. Just as a potter turns the clay, not only to shape it but to soften it to the exact texture needed for his intention, I have used the experiences you endured to soften the hardened places within your spirit, not to make you weaker, but to attune your heart to the rhythm of heaven. I am weaving into your life a depth that only souls who have passed through refining fire can carry. You once believed that the purpose I designed for you existed only in outward things, positions, opportunities, visible turning points. But my child, true purpose does not begin from the outside, it begins from transformation within. I do not lead you to your destiny by opening many external doors at once. I lead you there by first opening your heart, widening your sight, shaping how you see yourself, and restoring your sensitivity to the unseen. When the inside of you is opened, the outside doors will move on their own at the appointed time. I do not want you stepping into greatness while fragile. I want you to step in with stability, with clear vision, and with strength drawn from the life source I placed within you. There are things you once clung to because you thought they were essential to your identity. But I am showing you now that some things which seemed important were only garments whose time has expired. When my people prepared to cross into a new land, they could not take with them the things that had bound them in the old place. So it is with you. I am leading you through a sacred separation, where the things no longer fit for your next season will fall from your hands. Not because you lost them, but because I am lifting you higher to a place where your worth is no longer distorted by the judgment of others. You will see that when I remove what seemed necessary, I am making space for what truly reflects your essence. You are not becoming empty. You are being cleared. I do not want you to panic when certain things are taken away. It is not loss. It is purification. Just as a gardener trims away branches that bear no fruit so the tree can breathe and grow, I am doing the same in your life. Pruning is not punishment. Pruning is what makes room for life to flourish. There are old thoughts that have worn you down. There are patterns of behavior that have exhausted you. There are relationships that cause you to forget your true worth. I see each of these things, and I am gently loosening them so your heart can return to the condition where it can receive light fully. Beloved, I want you to pause long enough to see that the very moment you feel weakest is the moment I am breathing my strongest breath into you. You think you are merely surviving from day to day, but I see a new life sprouting within you, though you cannot yet feel it clearly. It is growing in the quiet, just like green shoots breaking through the soil after the rain, unnoticed by human eyes. This new life does not depend on your effort, it flows from my source. When you let me be the center, when you let me be the teacher, when you allow me to reshape the places that were bent, you will discover that even in your fragility, there is a strength the world cannot explain. My child, I want you to look again at the things you once called failures, not so that you feel regret, but so that you may see them as the turning points in my plan. You thought you took the wrong path, but I used that very path to bring you where you needed to be. Not one step you took ever fell outside my measure. When you turned aside out of fear, I walked with you. When you chose a road not meant for you because loneliness pressed in, I still held you. When you stopped in exhaustion, I waited beside you. I do not grow angry over these choices. They do not sabotage my plan. They simply reveal to you how much you need me. And when you return, I do not make you start over. I continue with you from exactly where you are. There have been seasons when I let you walk through shadowed places, not to discourage you, but to silence the noise of life that made it hard for you to hear me. I know the stillness confused you. I know you wondered whether I was still at work in your story. But I want you to know this: it is in the stillness that I weave the deepest chapters. When you cannot hear me, I am speaking beneath the surface of your consciousness. When you cannot feel me, my hand is still upon your soul. When everything appears motionless, I am moving things you will only recognize when the time is right. I do not forget you in the dark. I cover you until you are ready to face what lies ahead. I want your soul to open to a greater truth. You are not walking alone. Even when the world makes you feel abandoned, I am beside you with the steadiness of breath in the storm. I do not accompany you only when you are strong. I lift you when you have no strength left. You do not have to prove anything to me. I have known you, understood you, and loved you long before you knew how to love yourself. I see every quiet effort, every hidden tear, every moment you stood up when you had no reason to. None of it is overlooked. It is all part of the symphony I am composing over your life. My child, I want to reveal something more. The moments you thought were signs of being lost were actually the moments I pulled you away from paths that would have cost you yourself. I set limits not to restrict you, but to protect you. The closed doors of your past were the ways I said, "This is not your place." The times you were forced to stop were the moments I shielded you from forces that could have wounded your soul. The people who left your life did not leave because you were lacking. They left because the season ahead is one they cannot enter. Every departure has a purpose. You were not abandoned, you were preserved. And now, my child, as I bring you into this chapter, I want you to know that you are standing at the threshold of the new, not something born from your old efforts, but something flowing from the revelation I set in eternity. You are about to step into a new land where your soul will finally breathe the gentleness it has longed for. You will see the things that once weighed you down begin to fall away. You will see clarity you once believed you lacked. You will see steps that once terrified you, now becoming clear. I am opening the path, and you will realize it does not lead you into loss. It leads you into what has always been yours, my child. There are movements in spiritual life that cannot be measured by earthly time. You often view your progress through days, months, and years. But I measure your growth by the expansion of your soul, by the depth of your trust, by your ability to stand firm in peace while the world shakes. There are long seasons that feel like cold winds sweeping over your life, making you believe you are delayed. Yet in truth, I am clearing the fog from your vision. I do not delay to punish you. I delay so you may see more clearly, understand more deeply, and stand more securely. A spirit yet unformed cannot carry what I intend. So I use time to nourish, to carve, to strengthen you within before I broaden what is around you. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you take each step with questions still heavy on your heart. Uncertainty makes you doubt whether you are moving in the right direction. But I want you to hear this with the fullness of your soul. It is precisely in that uncertainty that I am building your trust. When you can no longer rely on familiar support, you will learn how to lean on me. When you walk into places where your eyes can no longer see, you will learn how to hear my voice more clearly. That is why I lead you into territories you have never known, not to make you lost, but to sharpen your sensitivity to heavenly guidance. You are led by my whisper, not by the noise of your fears. You fear repeating old disappointments, fear being wounded again, fear stepping in the wrong direction and losing what is precious. I do not blame you for these fears. I understand they were shaped by experiences you tried to forget but could never fully erase. But I want to tell you this fear does not have the final word. I am softening the hardened places of your heart, releasing layers of worry you thought you would carry for the rest of your life. I do not come to make you strong on the outside. I come to strengthen you from the depths within the place no one sees, yet the place where all things begin. You do not need to hide your fear from me. When you give me your fear, I will give you steadiness. When you open your heart, I will fill it with a strength you have never known. The world may try to convince you that your worth lies in what you accomplish, in the milestones you reach, or in the praise people give you. But I want you to know that your true worth comes from none of these things. It comes from your origin. You belong to me. You were formed not from randomness but from divine intention. You do not need to be impressive to be seen. Simply existing in my light is enough for all of heaven to recognize you. Every time you come to me in weakness, every time you keep your heart pure when no one is watching, Every time you choose what is right, even when the wrong is easier, these are the evidence of the true nature I placed within you. You do not need to fight for a place in the world. You already have a place in my heart. My beloved, you once tried to hold on to things that no longer fit simply because you feared the feeling of loss. But I want you to understand that some things must leave so your soul can have space for new life. These things do not leave to make you empty. They leave because I am opening a new page, one where your wholeness is no longer distorted by what once wounded you. When I close a door, it is not rejection, it is protection. When I take something away, it is not to deprive you, it is to keep you from being anchored to a land where life no longer flows. You were created to move toward the light, not to return to the darkness that once held your soul in cycles without end. Change does not always begin with dramatic events. It often begins with a morning when your heart feels unexpectedly lighter. A moment when you realize you can breathe more deeply. A day when a gentle thought rises in you, small signs that I am touching the inside of you. You cannot see the seed sprouting beneath the soil, but I see every root taking shape. I see the smallest movement in your soul. See the way you release something old. See the way you allow hope to return. Every movement carries meaning. You are no longer who you were a month ago or a year ago. You are changing, and I am the one guiding you through every shift. There are things I want to protect you from, though you do not understand why I restrict them. There are people I remove from your life, though you do not know the reason. There are opportunities I close that leave you disappointed. But I want you to know this: I see what you cannot. I see the whole landscape. You see only a small corner of the picture. I know what will exhaust your soul. I know what will bring temporary joy but drain you in the long run. I know who can walk with you into the next season and who cannot. I do not remove what is good. I remove what is lesser to make room for what is best. And when I do not leave your heart empty. I fill it with a peace the world cannot give. There were times I allowed you to walk on unstable ground, not to break you, but to teach you how to stand with my covering. You thought you made it through because of your effort, but it was because my shadow was over you. You believed you escaped danger by luck, but I had stopped harm before it reached you. You thought you happened to meet the right person at the right moment, but I sent them to lift you through a difficult stretch. I have never left you, even in the moments when you did not mention my name in prayer. My love for you does not rise and fall with your emotions. It is steady like the breath that fills the universe, and you are part of that breath. Do not look at what is past as failure. See it as lessons wrapped in my hands. Do not look at what is ahead with worry. Look at it with the trust that I have already gone before you. You do not need to force yourself to be strong. You only need to hold my hand. I will take care of everything else. And now, I want your soul to prepare for what I am leading you into. Not in haste, not in anxiety, not through self-effort. I lead you by peace. I open the way with light. I soften your heart with gentleness. And I want you to know you will not walk alone. I walk with you every step, every breath, every movement of your soul. My beloved child, I will lead you one step deeper into the place where divine intention meets the ordinary rhythm of your everyday life. Because my purpose for you is not something suspended far above you, disconnected from your daily existence. It is the quiet current woven into every choice, every thought, every way you respond to the things that come your way. I do not call you only in the solemn hours of prayer. I whisper to you in the moments that seem most ordinary, when you wash the dishes, when you move through the rush of traffic, when you look up at a gray sky and quietly wonder what your future will be. In those very moments, I ask your soul, will you let me enter even these details? Or do you only want me in the parts you call sacred? For I do not divide your life into portions for me and portions for yourself. I want all of it soaked in my presence. I know there are moments when you think that to live out your purpose you must do something great. Experience dramatic turning points. Be seen and recognized. But I form your destiny differently from how the world defines it. I begin by touching your inner motivations, clearing out the goals tainted by fear and by the need to prove yourself. And then I plant in you a new longing, not the longing to stand out, but the longing to be faithful. I do not look for perfection from you. I look for a heart that can say yes to me, even when you do not yet understand what I am doing. That posture opens doors that effort alone cannot. I see every time you quietly choose the upright path, though no one praises you. I record every moment you remain silent to keep bitterness from taking root. And I remember the times you were exhausted but still whispered, "Please don't leave me." These become the seeds I weave into the road you are about to walk. There are days when you want to give up, to shut every door that leads to hope because you fear, hoping only to be disappointed again. I understand these waves within you. I have seen many souls pass through that same valley. And that is why I come closer, not with rebuke, but with the tenderness of the one who knows the limits of humanity. I do not demand that you always be strong, always radiant, always full of zeal. I know the nights when you sit still with no strength left to cry. I know the mornings when you wake with a heart heavy as stone. I know the days when you smile outwardly while feeling hollow inside, as if you have lost the ability to feel altogether. I do not turn my face from those moments. In fact, those are when I bend closest, because at the end of your strength is the beginning of reliance. And I can do my greatest work when you stop pretending to be okay before me. Do not fear the feeling of being stripped layer by layer. For this is how I remove the coverings that once helped you survive, but have now become garments too tight. I see how old wounds once forced you to put on reactions that were not your true self, the coldness meant to keep you safe, the hypervigilance meant to guard you from betrayal, the polite smiles meant to cover loneliness. I do not despise these layers, for I know they once kept you alive in dark seasons. But I also know that if they are not removed, you cannot step into the realm of freedom I am opening for you. So I shine my light not to bring shame, but to help you see what is truly you and what was shaped by pain. And when you allow me to show you this, you will begin to feel a new kind of lightness, the lightness of no longer having to perform, the lightness of being honest with me, the lightness of realizing that I have never abandoned you, even when you did not yet know how to love yourself rightly. I also want to free you from a subtle trap, the feeling that you must always be worthy for me to draw near. You have absorbed too many messages from this world, messages saying that love must be earned, that affection must be exchanged for achievement, for perfection, for never making mistakes. Without realizing it, you brought that mindset into your relationship with me. You thought that if you prayed enough, obeyed enough, walked properly enough, I would be closer. But I want you to hear this clearly. I loved you before you could do anything for me. I called you before you could ever answer. I embraced you before you even learned to turn toward me. My love for you is not built on your performance, nor anchored to your good days. It flows from my very nature, and my nature does not change. When you are joyful, I love you. When you are discouraged, I love you. When you are strong, I love you. When you are weak, I hold you even closer. That is why you do not need to perform the role of the good child. You only need to be yourself and allow me to to transform you from within. For true transformation does not come from pressure, it comes from staying near true love long enough for every false thing to fall away. My child, I want to speak to you about how I am preparing your spirit for what is ahead. If only the outside of your life changes while the inside remains shaped by old patterns. Even blessings will become burdens, for you will fear losing them instead of walking in freedom. And so I am gently tuning the frequency of your soul. I am leading you out of the habit of expecting harm, of bracing for failure, of telling yourself, "It will be taken from me eventually." I am replacing those voices with a different tone, the tone of trust. Trust that I do not give good things only to snatch them away, that I do not lead you to the edge of a cliff just to push you over, that I do not bring you out of the old place only to abandon you in the wilderness. I am the beginning and the finisher. I do not write halfway. I do not abandon the story I have started over your life. And I want you to begin to believe this not only with your mind, but with the deep knowing within your spirit. It is time for you to relearn the language of gratitude, not as a ritual, but as a new breath. Gratitude does not mean denying pain. It means recognizing my hand at work within the pain. Each time you choose to thank me for the small things, I still preserve the day you can rise. The breath filling your lungs, the person who remains by your side when you thought you had no one. You shift your gaze from what is lacking to what is present. And in that small shift, your soul moves. It steps out of the shadow of complaint and into the light of trust. Gratitude loosens the invisible chains of comparison and places you in the flow of what I am doing, even when you cannot yet see the whole picture. When you give thanks, you are telling your own heart that I am still here, that the story is still unfolding, and that what I have spoken does not end at the wound, it passes through the wound to bring forth healing. What I am doing in your life is not for your benefit alone. I am writing a testimony, and your very life is the living page that many others will read. The times you rose in silence will become strength for those who come after you. The healed scars on your heart will become whispers of hope to souls who think they can never be whole again. The tears you have shed will be gathered by my hands and poured over the dry ground in the hearts of others. You do not yet see the reach of your influence, but I see it. For I have placed you in a position no one else can occupy. No one carries a story like yours. No one walks a journey identical to yours. And this uniqueness makes your life precious in my plan. When I comfort you, I am also preparing you to become a channel of comfort for those you have not yet met. When I lift you from the abyss, I am also preparing you to tell souls standing at the edge that there is still a way back. So I invite you into the next step, not with trembling born of fear, but with a heart learning to trust that I am with you. Let each coming day become not another day to endure, but another day to watch what the one who loves you will do. Let the evening become not a time for recounting failures, but a moment to lay down your burdens and whisper to me that you entrust everything into my hands. Let this very moment become a new marker in the history of your inner world, a place where you decide to stop seeing yourself through the eyes of disappointment and begin seeing yourself through my eyes, the eyes of the one who knows every weakness yet still calls you precious, chosen, and mine, my beloved child. Until now you have learned to let go of what weighed your mind down. You have allowed me to remove the old garments, and you have listened to my voice in the stillest places. But now I want to do something deeper. I want to reset the inner foundation so you can stand firm in every revelation I am about to unfold. For I do not only want you comforted, I want you formed with the stability of heaven, steadfast, whether in abundance or in lack, in brightness or in darkness, in triumph or in trial. I know that in your deepest challenges, What wounded you most was not the circumstance itself, but the feeling of being abandoned in the midst of it. Many times you asked in your heart, not with words, but with quiet pain, whether I truly saw you, truly heard you, truly cared about what was draining your strength. And I want to answer you here and now. Not a single one of your breaths has been outside my concern. I do not turn my face away from the places you try to hide. I see fully. I understand fully. I love fully. Not a tear you conceal escapes my sight. Not a sigh you release goes unheard. I know the sorrow woven within it. You have never been alone, even when your soul insisted otherwise. As you walked through difficult days, you learned how to keep moving. But I want to teach you something greater. You must not only keep moving, you must learn to walk with the peace the world cannot steal. You have lived too long in a posture of defense, always expecting something to go wrong, always fearing joy will be taken away, always viewing the future through the lens of past pain. But I want you to know that the peace I give does not depend on circumstances. It does not depend on people. It does not depend on the instability you cannot control. It comes from knowing that I hold all things in my hands. And these hands have never trembled. I do not waver. I do not change. And when you anchor yourself in me, you will stand firm even when everything around you shifts. The hardest stretches you have walked did not destroy you. They scraped away what did not belong to you. But they could not take what I placed within you. You may think you have become weaker, but in truth, you are stronger than you realize. You may think you have been worn down, but in truth, you have been sharpened. You may think you have lost much, but you do not yet see that what was lost has created the space necessary for the new to emerge. You thought you were merely surviving, but I see that you have been growing. You thought you were barely enduring, but I see you being refined like precious metal in the fire. My beloved child, true strength is not the absence of trembling, fear, or stumbling. True strength is the ability to rise while trembling, to trust while doubting, to turn toward the light even while the night has not yet lifted. You thought your days of weakness were proof of failure, but I tell you they are proof that you still belong to me because you return to me, because you need me, because you seek me even in the smallest things. A soul that seeks its source in the midst of a storm is a soul that is maturing, not a soul that is failing. And I want you to know that I am not startled by your wavering moments. I simply want you to place that trembling hand into mine so I may hold you steady. Not every closed door is a loss. Many doors close because I am shielding you from paths that are not yours. There are people I do not allow you to keep, not because you are lacking, but because you deserve a kind of support they cannot give. There are opportunities I do not let you enter, not because you are incapable, but because they would steal the peace I intend to guard within you. There are places I do not let you stand, not because you lack skill, but because standing there would dim the light I placed in you. I protect you in ways you do not yet understand. But when you look back, you will see that the closed doors were what saved your soul from deeper darkness. My child, you have walked many stretches where you wondered whether anything that happened held meaning. But I want you to know not one of your steps is meaningless. Not one encounter is random. Not one disappointment is wasted. Everything becomes material for the chapters ahead. I am the one who takes fragments and turns them into art. I am the one who takes what has broken and turns it into testimony. I am the one who gathers tears and transforms them into water for the seeds of the future. You are not shaped by pain, you are shaped by love. And now, I want you to open your heart to what I am preparing, a season of rebirth, not first of circumstances, but of the way you see yourself. You will no longer see yourself through the lens of failure, rejection, comparison, or the wounds others have spoken over you. You will see yourself through my lens, the lens of the one who sees your worth clearly, sees your potential fully, and sees the light you carry unmistakably. You are not the reflection of pain, you are the reflection of my love. And I want you to begin living as though you believe that. My child, I have brought you here not for you to stand still, but to lead you into a season where you finally understand that you were made for something greater than anything you have ever imagined. I am preparing within you a new position, a new vision, a new strength, and a new sensitivity. I do not want you merely healed. I want you resurrected. My child, I now desire to lead you to a threshold that every soul must cross before stepping into the greatness I have destined, the boundary between what you once believed about yourself and what I, the Lord, declare over you. This crossing point is not a physical place, it is an inner battleground. A quiet struggle deep within, where old voices attempt to pull you back into patterns of the past, while my call continually draws you toward the light. You cannot cross this threshold by your own strength. I will lead you. But you must accept this truth to enter the new. You cannot carry the identities that were shaped by your old fears. There are thoughts that have lived in your heart so long they began to masquerade as truth, even though I never once confirmed them. Thoughts that tell you you are not enough, that your worth depends on pleasing others, that you must become what the world expects in order to be accepted. These thoughts do not come from me, and they do not carry life. They are mist quietly seeping into your soul through wounds of the past, through the claws of human expectations, through unfair criticisms, and through moments when others dismissed your value. You unconsciously kept them, like an old object held on to simply because you believed you had nothing better to replace it with. But, my child, I have come to dismantle these false conclusions and place within you a new understanding, one not built on your old experiences, but on my eternal truth about you. I know you once saw yourself through the tinted lens of rejection. Every time someone walked away without explanation, every time you were left outside conversations that mattered, every time you trusted the wrong heart and were betrayed. These moments carved into your soul the painful question, is something wrong with me? But I speak to you now with both gentleness and authority. No. The problem was never you. Someone's departure is not a verdict on your worth. Many left because they could not journey into the depths where I am taking you. Some left because their hearts could not hold the blessing I placed within you. Some left because I knew that if they stayed, they would hinder the version of you I am building. When I allow someone to exit your life, it is never a statement that you lack value. It is my protection over you from what you cannot see. You were never meant to live in the shadow of others. You were created with a voice that is yours alone, a mission uniquely yours, a light only you carry, and a story no one else can replicate. You did not come to repeat what someone else has done. You came to reveal a dimension of me that I placed exclusively within you. The world may tell you that your worth lies in mirroring others, following their paths, achieving what they've achieved. But I did not design you from the mold of any human being. I fashioned you in my image, unique, profound, intentional. When you compare yourself to others, you diminish the divine design I engraved into your soul. I want you to rise out of that smallness, to see that you are not a copy, you are heaven's original creation. I understand that there were times you hesitated to embrace anything great because you believed you lacked the strength to keep it. You feared great joy because you feared losing it. You feared deep connection because you feared deep hurt. You feared high opportunity because you feared painful failure. But I ask you this, What do you think will happen if you allow me to hold what I give you? You do not need to cling to blessings in fear. For when I give, I do not stand afar watching you struggle alone. I give and I guard. I place and I protect. I open and I stand at the door. When I place something in your hands, my own hands cover it as well. What belongs to me cannot be easily stolen from you, and what I have destined for you will not disappear simply because old fears whisper otherwise. I do not call you into the new only to abandon you halfway. There are old wounds still pulling invisible threads in your mind, making it hard for you to believe good things can happen to you. You have become so accustomed to disappointment that you sometimes treat it as normal. You have grown so used to lack that you think it is fate. You have been belittled so often that you struggle to accept sincere praise. You have been overlooked so many times that you think you are not worthy of being chosen. But I come to tell you, none of these things are true. They are remnants of seasons in which you did not yet understand your worth. And I have come to break every silent sentence of condemnation. You were not destined for loss, you were destined for restoration. You were not destined to stand on the margins, you were destined to stand in the light I placed upon you. You were not destined to touch goodness from afar, you were destined to live in that goodness every day. My child, I want you to learn to see yourself as I see you. When I look at you, I do not see a clumsy child, I see a warrior who has risen from countless falls. I do not see a wounded soul, I see a soul capable of healing others because it has known deep wounds and survived them. I do not see someone lacking, I see someone with such immense potential that the moment my light touches you, you will bear fruit for generations to come. You cannot see this version of yourself yet because your eyes are still fogged by old memories. But I see, and I speak so that you may begin to believe what I see. This is the moment for you to stop describing yourself by your failures and begin describing yourself by my words. I call you chosen. I call you precious. I call you a bearer of light. I call you irreplaceable. I call you one whom I keep and shield. I call you the echo of hope I have sown into the world. These are not poetic titles, they are your true identity in the realm of heaven. And when you step into that identity, every chain that ever held you will dissolve like ash in the wind. Let this be the beginning of a deeper renewal. You will no longer see yourself by what has happened, but by what I am doing. You will no longer define yourself by wounds, but by purpose. You will no longer live in the shadow of the past, but in the light I pour over your future. I am pulling you out from the distortions of your old perception so that you may finally see yourself through truth. And when you see yourself as I intended, you will walk with a confidence not rooted in performance but in identity, not anchored in human words but in mine. Not shaped by what you fear, but by what I have already prepared. My child, I am leading you to a place where you not only recognize your worth, but begin to see the flow of purpose weaving through every corner of your life. For the truth is, this purpose is not a sudden moment that appears without warning. It is a symphony I planted in your soul from the very beginning. And now I want to teach you to hear that melody with spiritual ears refined through seasons of testing. You have believed that I only use bright, triumphant moments to fulfill my purpose. But, my child, I also use the dark nights, the weary stretches, the hours you thought were meaningless, binding them together into a perfect structure only heaven could design. There are things you have gone through that you assumed served no purpose except to wound you. But I tell you that within each pain was a layer of meaning you were not yet permitted to see at the time. I did not create the pain, but I use it as material to shape you, to widen your heart, to render your soul deep enough, wide enough, soft enough to carry the greatness I desire to give you. None of your pain has been wasted. I have gathered every fragment of it and placed it in a secret place within my plan, where it becomes an essential piece of the destiny I have written. You thought your cracks made you weak, but I say to you that those very cracks are where my light will pierce through to reveal my glory in ways that those who have never been wounded could never understand. There are moments when you felt as if you had stood still for far too long, as though your life were trapped in endless cycles with no exit. But I want you to know that in my eyes, not one moment in your journey has been stagnant. I have continued to lead you, even when you could not perceive the movement with your natural senses. I have led you through subtle shifts in your heart, in the way you look at circumstances, in the small decisions that seemed insignificant. I lead you through the quiet rise of new thoughts, through the gradual change in how you see yourself, through the fragile places slowly transforming into strength. I lead you through the peace that begins to settle where chaos used to reign. All of these are signs that you are entering a deeper season, one where I am not merely comforting you, but shaping you into the bearer of light this world desperately needs. My beloved child, I want you to understand that only when you look back on your journey through my eyes will you realize that each step you thought was meaningless was actually a stone I placed to bring you here. You believed you took wrong turns, wasted time, stood still, but I tell you nothing is wasted when you place it in my hands. I can turn the years you believed were lost into the very foundation of what I am about to build. I can turn broken relationships into powerful testimonies for your future. I can turn the failures that crushed you into depths of strength that will astonish others. Nothing in you is useless. Nothing is too late. No past is beyond my ability to transform. Child, you have learned to trust me when tired, to rely on me when weak, to return to me when lost. But now I call you to something deeper, a place where you do not only seek me when you need me, but recognize that your life is truly whole only when I am the center of every decision you make. This is not a burden, it is liberation. When you let me guide you, the worries you once carried will fall away, because you will no longer need to hold everything together out of fear. When I take hold of your life, you can walk lightly, knowing that everything you surrender to me is cared for by a love beyond understanding. You are not only called to survive, you are called to bring life. You are not only healed for your own sake, you are healed so that you may become a refuge for others searching for a path out of their darkness. You are not only led out of the night for your benefit, you are led out so you can shine as a torch for those still wandering. This is why I have refined you through many seasons, not to wear you out, but to deepen you. For only souls that have walked through darkness can truly guide others to the light. True transformation does not happen when circumstances change, but when your soul recognizes that it is no longer bound by the old story, when you realize you are no longer who you used to be, when you look in the mirror and see not old pain but the glow of hope, that is when the change has begun. When you notice you respond differently to the things that once shattered you, when peace settles where anxiety used to consume you, when strength rises where weakness once lived, that is the evidence that my hand is working in you in ways deeper than you ever imagined. My child, you are drawing very near to a new threshold, one that, once you cross it, you will no longer wonder whether you are worthy. For my very presence within you will become the greatest confirmation. You will no longer seek the approval of people, for you will walk in the assurance that I have called you. I have chosen you, and I have placed upon you a mark no one can erase. You will no longer fear failure, because you will understand that every failure rests in my hands, and I can turn it into a lever that lifts you higher. You will no longer fear loss, because you will know that what truly belongs to you cannot be taken from my grasp. This is what I want your soul to remember. As a seal, you are being prepared not merely to endure, but to enter a season where your true essence will be revealed in full. You are stepping into a space where you will no longer live by the memory of what once was, but by the strength of what I am bringing forth. You are approaching the moment when everything I planted in you long before will begin to break through the surface. You are entering the time where the light in you will grow so strong that nothing will be able to extinguish it. My beloved child, I want you to pause and recognize a profound truth that many souls follow me in their entire lives without ever fully understanding. Your transformation has never been accidental, nor is it the result of sheer willpower. It is the fruit of my quiet yet powerful touch. You have not grown by your own strength. I have upheld your soul piece by piece. And now I want you to see yourself not only as one being transformed, but as one being invited into a partnership with heaven. For from this moment onward, your path is not only about standing firm, it is about stepping deeper into what I carved into your being long before you ever saw the light of this world. I know that even as you hear these words, part of you still whispers its doubts, wondering whether you are truly strong enough to step into what I have prepared. You fear making mistakes. You fear stumbling. You fear disappointing me. But I want you to understand that the strength I require from you is not the strength of perfection, it is the strength of willingness. When you are willing to open your heart to me, willing to trust my voice above the voice of fear, willing to step even when you do not fully understand, then you are stronger than you think. Heavenly strength is not measured by how rigid you are, but by how soft your heart is before my guidance. A soul that can yield before me can accomplish what the proudest minds will never reach. I am leading you into a new season, not to make you struggle more, but to help you breathe more deeply in my will. In the last season, you had to fight much. Each step felt like walking through thorns. Each decision weighed heavily on your heart. You learned to stand firm in storms. Learned to hold on to me when everything else slipped through your hands. Learned to trust me when you had nothing left to cling to. But the new season does not rest upon the storm. It rests upon the peace I give. You have lived through days where you had to struggle not to collapse. But now I want you to enter days where you will learn to receive rather than merely resist. The new season will not drain your strength, it will return strength to you. Child, I know there were stretches of your life marked by delays that made you question my promises. Times when you waited so long you began to believe that waiting itself was your destiny. Days when you poured out your heart in prayer. Yet my silence felt undecipherable. Was it a lesson or a refusal? You watched others receive the things they asked for while you received only quietness. But I want you to know that my silence was not absence, it was preparation. I did not keep you waiting to punish you. I kept you waiting to shape your heart into the form that could hold the blessing I intend to give. Not every promise can be placed in an unready heart. I waited for your soul to gain the depth needed to sustain what I am about to release. I am bringing you into a stage where things inside you will begin to align. The way scattered pieces suddenly form a picture you once thought too complex to understand. Every experience, every pain, every joy, every moment you rose again, every moment you collapsed, all of it has formed a river flowing toward the purpose I ordained for you. You believed you were merely living day by day, but I tell you that each day has been flowing toward the place I am leading you. No moment was meaningless, no season was wasted, no loss was beyond my power to restore. When you look through my eyes, you will see that I have never allowed the meaning of your life to slip from my hands. My beloved child, I want you to understand something essential about this stage. you will begin to feel the shift occurring, not primarily around you, but within you. For before I pull you out of a circumstance, I first pull you out of the limiting beliefs that circumstance created. Before I open a new door, I widen your vision. Before I place what you prayed for into your hands, I cleanse the part of you that will hold it. Before I take you to a new land, I dismantle the inner patterns that once made you afraid to enter bigger spaces. You think you only need a change of situation, but I want to change your perspective. You think you only need an outward miracle, but I want to give you an inward rebirth. My child, you are stepping into a time when I will show you that the things which once seemed random in your life have in fact been part of a meticulous design. There are people I brought beside you only for a brief moment, yet they left in your heart a necessary imprint. There are encounters that passed quickly, yet they opened within your soul an understanding that nothing else could replace. There are places you once visited that seemed meaningless, but in those very places, I allowed a quiet seed to fall into the soil of your destiny, and in its appointed time it will sprout. You do not know where each seed is hidden, but I know, and I will bring every one of them to bloom in the precise season I have ordained. My child, now I want you to look back on everything I have led you through, not to resurface old pain, but so you may see clearly my presence even in the places where you thought I was absent. Where you cried alone, I was there. Where you lost sleep because of fear and worry, I was there. Where you had to appear strong while inside you were so fragile that a single word could have broken you, I was there. And when you look back with new eyes, you will see that I did not merely keep you alive, I kept you intact. I kept your heart soft when it could have hardened. I preserved kindness in you when you had every reason to become bitter. I protected your ability to love when you could have shut down completely. That is the miracle I performed that you did not always recognize. My child, I tell you this, the moment you are living in is the intersection between what I have built within you and what I am preparing before you. You are not here by chance. You are here because my plan has reached its appointed hour. I do not always reveal the timing of my work, but I give signs. And the greatest sign is the quiet transformation taking place inside your heart. When your inner world begins to widen, when you feel a longing for something deeper, when you no longer accept the half measures you once settled for, when you no longer want to live on the surface, but to live fully. These are the evidences that your soul has stepped into the maturity I have been shaping in secret. My beloved child, from this point on I will lead you into new realms, realms where my presence does not only comfort you but empowers you, does not only heal you but turns you into a vessel of healing for others, does not only make you stand firm but makes you a voice for the faint-hearted, does not only pour blessings upon you but makes you a channel through which blessings will flow. For I did not create you merely to receive, I created you to reflect my light. My child, you have grown accustomed to shrinking yourself to fit the small expectations of others, accustomed to stepping back so as not to be misunderstood, accustomed to keeping your light dim so it would not provoke envy or opposition. But I did not call you to live within the narrow confines people impose. I called you to live within the wide spaces I have prepared for you. And when I enlarge the inner room of your heart, you will see that the very things which once intimidated you will no longer have power over you. I know that in the past you often undervalued yourself because you thought humility meant being small. But I want you to understand that humility is not shrinking back, it is knowing you belong to me. Humility is the awareness that everything you have comes from me. Therefore you can stand tall without arrogance. Move boldly without pride. Speak the truth without boasting. For the source of everything you carry lies in the one who formed your soul. I do not want humility to be misunderstood and turned into a chain that keeps you from the holy confidence I give. You cannot step into what I have prepared if you constantly feel the need to apologize for your own existence. I did not teach you to hide so that you may be pitied. I am teaching you to stand so that you may reflect my glory. There is also a deeper place I want to touch, one you rarely dare to face: the fear of success. You are not only afraid of failure, you are afraid of good things coming faster than you expect. You fear that if your dream were to suddenly become reality, you would not have the strength to hold it, the wisdom to steward it, or the resilience to protect it. You fear that receiving something great means facing responsibilities you have never known. You fear that the light will put you in a place where you feel exposed. You fear that blessings will come with trials you are not prepared for. But my child, I want you to look at the truth. The things I prepare for, you are not built on your strength, they are built on my grace. I do not give you anything only to abandon you in the testing ground. I give, and I go with you. I entrust, and I safeguard. I open, and I cover. I lead, and I go before you. What I give you is not a burden, it is a partnership between my power and your willingness. I want to set you free from a subtle chain that binds many souls, without them realizing it, the fear of being seen. You have been wounded in the past when you were exposed to critical eyes. Wounded when you spoke the truth and were dismissed. Wounded when you showed your best and were belittled. So, you learned to hide. Learn to avoid attention. Learn to bury your talents. You learned to silence yourself even when you had something worthy to say. But my child, understand this: you were created to be seen in the way I intend, not in the distorted way the world once judged you. The light within you was never meant to be hidden under a basket, it was meant to shine. You were not born to blend into the crowd, you were born to bear my imprint on the earth. And when I place my imprint upon you, I also give you the protection needed so that your light will not be extinguished by anyone's jealousy or criticism. You do not need to hide anymore. I want you to stand. There are gifts I placed in you long ago, dreams you once thought too big, ideas you once believed too bold, desires you kept locked away because you feared others would call them unrealistic. But these things are part of my blueprint for your life. You did not create those dreams, they are heavenly reminders of what you were born to accomplish. And if I plant them in you, I will also give you the strength, the clarity, the wisdom, and the support necessary to fulfill them. There is no dream you carry that lies outside my ability to bring to completion. What you need is not to prove your worth, but to be courageous enough to walk with me. My child, I know there were days when you tried to step into something new, yet the past pulled you back like an invisible thread. You remembered the moments you were mocked, the times you were dismissed, the occasions when others belittled you, and those memories slowed your feet. But my beloved child, I want you to know this: the past has no authority to determine your future when I am the one holding that future in my hand. The past is not your measure, it is only the soil I used to plant the seed. You are no longer standing where you were rejected. You are no longer beneath the words that once wounded you. You are no longer carrying the burden of old mistakes. You are no longer living under the condemnation you once thought was unescapable. You are standing in a new realm, a realm of grace, of restoration, of redefinition. And I, not your memories, am the one who defines you. When I call you to step further, I do not require you to know everything. I only ask you to walk according to the light I give you each day. I do not ask you to see the entire path ahead. I ask you to take my hand and walk step by step. When Abraham was called to leave his homeland, He did not know where he was going, but he knew who was leading him. When Moses stood before the sea, he did not know how the waters would part, but he knew I was the one who commanded him to lift his staff. When David stood before Goliath, he did not know what the outcome would be, but he knew my name was large enough to make the impossible bow. And so it is with you. You do not need to know every detail. You only need to know who I am. I want you to step into a new mindset, the mindset of one who knows they are chosen. When you live from that identity, you no longer fear closed doors. For you know that if I close a door, it is because you do not belong there. You no longer fear rejection, for you know I am redirecting your steps toward the right place. You no longer fear those who misunderstand you, for your destiny does not require their approval. You no longer fear delay, for you know my timing is never wrong. You no longer fear lack, for you know my provision does not depend on earthly systems. The expansion you feel within you is not a fleeting emotion. It is confirmation that I am making the way before you. The closer you come to purpose, the more you will sense shifts in perception, in desire, in the posture of your heart. What once satisfied you will no longer be enough. What once frightened you will no longer shake you. What once held you in place will no longer have the strength to restrain you. You are touching a new current of my spirit. This is the time for you not only to follow me, but to walk with the posture of one who knows they are moving within a heavenly orchestration. No more timid steps. No more avoiding steps. No more just enough steps. This is the time for you to walk with the certainty that I go before you to open the way. I go behind you to protect. I walk beside you to uphold. And I dwell within you to empower. You are not walking alone. You are not fighting alone. You are not standing alone. You are walking in union with the one who spoke purpose over your life. My beloved child, now that your heart has stretched wide enough to receive a new understanding of value, purpose, and my guidance, I want to take you into a deeper realm, a realm few dare to approach. It is the realm where I not only strengthen your identity, but teach you how to walk in the authority I have placed upon you. For there is a truth you must grasp before you step into the next part of your journey, and you were not created merely to live well. You were created to carry my power into places where darkness once ruled. What I placed within you is not a fragile spark, but a flame capable of dispelling the shadows surrounding other souls. Not a fleeting compassion, but a compassion that heals. Not a trembling faith, but a faith capable of moving unseen walls. And for this to unfold, I want you to learn to see not only with your eyes, but with spiritual vision. Many times you believed you were facing simple challenges, but I want you to recognize that behind those challenges often stands a hidden door. A door leading you into territories I prepared long ago, but could not entrust to you until your discernment became sharp enough. I never let you walk through a storm merely to exhaust you. I let you walk through it so your spiritual ears could become sensitive, so you could distinguish my voice among countless others, so you could stop confusing emotion with direction. The very dark valleys that once frightened you have become the places where you discovered most deeply that I never abandoned you. And once that revelation is carved into your soul, you carry a kind of authority no one can give and no one can take away. Child, there are areas of your life where you have always felt resistance, as though an invisible barrier held you back whenever you tried to rise. But I want to reveal this to you. Some barriers do not come to hinder you. They come to teach you discernment. If every door opened easily, your soul would never learn to tell the difference between the path I prepared and the shortcuts that look enticing but strip you of peace. If every relationship were simple to grasp and release, you would never learn how to see beneath words into intentions and motives. I use delay to teach you to recognize my voice. I use rejection to teach you to differentiate between doors of heaven and doors that are merely disguised tests of your faith. You think you are being held back, but in truth, you are being trained. For years, you have unconsciously allowed belittling words, doubtful looks, careless behavior, and unfair comparisons to define your capability. You forgot that those who cannot see the whole of you have no authority to name you. You allowed people who only saw fragments to judge the entirety of your story. But I am here to tell you that no human being can assign your worth more accurately than the one who created you. Your value is not found in how others perceive you. It is found entirely in how I call you. And I have never called you excess, inferior, replaceable, or invisible. I call you light. I call you salt. I call you chosen. I call you my delight. I call you a vessel of life, my child. I want to touch the deepest fear within you, the one you rarely dare to name, the fear that you might lose what I give you once you step into something greater. You fear that if you allow your light to shine, you will be scrutinized. You fear that if you receive greater responsibility, you will be judged. You fear that if you open your heart to deep connection, you may be wounded. You fear that if you embrace new opportunities, you will face pressures that drain your strength. But my beloved child, I want you to know this: I do not lead you into new territory only for you to tremble beneath old fears. I lead you into new territory with new grace, new strength, new wisdom. I do not take you to a broader battleground while expecting you to fight with old weapons. I equip you with armor unseen by the world and immeasurable by human standards. I want you to understand something that, once grasped, will allow you to walk in unprecedented freedom. The blessing I have prepared for you does not overlap with the blessing of anyone else. No one can take what belongs to you. No one can step into the place I have carved uniquely for you. No one can steal the journey I have written by my own hand for your soul alone. When you see others stepping into their season, do not let your heart tremble. It does not diminish the season I have for you. Heaven never runs out of room. Grace never runs dry. Every soul has a distinct path in my design. And what I do in another's life does not obstruct what I am preparing in yours. I do not operate by the laws of competition, but by the abundance of heaven. And I want you to believe this so deeply that you no longer fear that someone else's blessing means disadvantage for you. No, my child. Heaven does not divide according to earthly scarcity. It pours forth according to purpose. Every time you endured words that wounded your heart, you learned how to preserve peace. Every time you stood again while your soul trembled, you learned the courage of the heavenly realm. Every time you refused revenge, even when you had reason, you learned the depth of mercy. Every time you placed me above your impulsive emotions, you learned spiritual maturity. And all of this has woven itself into a strength the world cannot understand, the strength that emerges only after one has endured fire. You may not see how much you have grown, but I see. I see what your own eyes have not yet perceived. This moment is not merely the midpoint of your journey, it is a threshold of unveiling, a threshold of deeper union with me, a threshold where you transition from being kept to being commissioned, from being loved to being entrusted, from being comforted to being empowered. This is the time when your soul will not only live upheld by my hand, but will learn to operate in the authority I have given you. Because the territories ahead require not only your gentleness, but my strength manifested through you. I want you to imagine your soul as a vessel being fired in a furnace. Each trial raises the heat, each wound intensifies the flame, each act of surrender adds its blaze. But the vessel is not placed in the fire to be destroyed, it is placed there to become resilient, to hold what is precious, to withstand being filled without cracking. You are in the season where the vessel has been in the fire long enough that it is no longer fragile as it once was. And now, I am preparing to pour into you a new oil, the oil of discernment, the oil of wisdom, the oil of strength, the oil of sight that perceives what others cannot. When the vessel is ready, the oil will flow. And engrave this upon your heart as a sacred seal. You do not step into what comes next alone. You step with me. You step in me. You step under my protection. You step beneath the shelter of my wings. You step in my power. And because you step in me, no force, no scheme, no word, no shadow can hinder what I am leading you into. My beloved child, now I want to bring you into an even deeper realm, a realm where you not only recognize me as your guide, but where you see clearly how I am shaping your life as an essential part of the vast plan I am bringing forth on the earth. For my child, you are not merely someone who is loved, healed, and upheld. You are a crucial thread woven into the flow of heavenly intention. Even when you once believed your life was small and insignificant, I want to tear down that belief. Now every movement within you carries the weight of eternity. From the beginning, I wove your soul with threads chosen with care, threads of endurance, threads of compassion, threads of dignity, threads of wisdom, threads of resilience, and threads of the fire I breathed into you from your first moment. These threads, though buried under the dust of trial and sorrow, have never broken. They have only awaited my touch to blaze again. And now, I am igniting them. For the seasons you endured, painful as they were, did not reduce your worth. On the contrary, they deepened you so profoundly that I can now place within you things I could never have placed in a soul that has never known pressure. Those I use most powerfully are not those who have avoided the fire, but those who walked through it and did not let it wither them, those who let it refine them into purity. I want you to understand how I see your life. I see you not only in your present moment, but across the span of time. I see who you can become when you walk fully in my purpose. I see the souls you will touch, the families that will be healed through the presence you carry, the nights pushed back because of the single word of comfort you will speak, the destinies changed because you dared stand where others would not step. You think that the changes inside you serve only your personal healing, but I tell you they are the preparation for an influence you have not yet glimpsed. I am weaving you into a larger tapestry, a tapestry you cannot yet see. But one day you will realize that every thread you carry belonged to a divine design. There have been times you wondered secretly whether you were truly meant for something great or whether you were merely comforting yourself with wishful thinking. You feared your expectations were too high. You worried you were imagining too much. You questioned whether you had the strength to step into what I declared. But my beloved child, I want you to know the longing inside you was not born from imagination. It came from me. I planted it in you to pull you toward the future I designed. That longing is my whisper, reminding you that you were born to carry weight. And if I sowed it into your soul, I also have a plan to bring it to fruition. No divine desire is placed in you without my provision to fulfill it. My child, now I want to bring you into an understanding of a kind of authority you have never dared to receive, the authority to step into the places I send you not with fear, but with the awareness that you are walking in the power of the one who has commissioned you. You do not enter any place alone. When you step into a room, I step with you. When you open your mouth to speak truth, my Spirit Himself places His resonance upon your words. When you rise to defend what is right, you do not stand alone. I stand behind you, before you, beside you, and within you. When you pray for someone, the healing does not flow from your strength, it flows from the river of life moving through you. And when you bring peace into chaotic spaces, you are not simply creating a pleasant atmosphere, you are exercising the authority of my kingdom to drive back the darkness. You once believed you were too small to make a difference. But I tell you, the world is not changed by loud souls, but by souls who listen to my voice. Those who are humble, faithful, and tender before me, these are the ones who make darkness tremble. I do not seek the noisy, I seek the willing. I do not seek those strong in themselves, I seek those strong in surrender. You do not need to become great by earthly standards for me to use you. You only need to be in the place I assigned you. And when a soul stands in its appointed place, my power moves through them without their striving to be seen. Child, I want you also to understand that the seasons I prepare for you are not merely personal, they are generational. Some shifts happening in you today will become blessings for those not yet born. Some steps of faith you take now will open doors for future generations. Some cycles you break today will become freedom for those who come after you. You think you are changing only one life, but I see you changing an entire flow of destiny. I am the God of generations, and when I touch you, I am also touching the future I plan to shape through your life. My beloved, I want you to look back at the years behind you as one would look at a cocoon. You once believed it was confinement. You felt trapped in solitude, in difficult decisions, in steps no one understood. But the cocoon is never punishment. It is the formation of wings. Without the cocoon, the butterfly would never gain the strength to fly. Without pressure, there would be no release. Without silence, there would be no powerful voice. The years you thought were years of hiding were the years I was shaping the inner structure of your soul. And now that the cocoon has thinned and your wings have formed, I am calling you out not to stumble forth, but to emerge with the sacred confidence of one shaped by the hands of the Creator. Stepping into a new season will bring moments that feel both familiar and strange familiar, because pieces of it have lived in your heart for years. Strange, because now they are coming together in ways your old understanding could not fathom. You will see new relationships arrive at the exact moment you need them. New responsibilities accompanied not by pressure but by peace. New opportunities that make you whisper. This is what God hinted at long ago. These things are not coincidences. They are the blooming of seeds I planted in silence. And to enter the next chapter fully, I want you to engrave this into your heart. You are no longer living under the shadow of failure or past wounds. You are living under the shadow of my wings. And the shadow of my wings is not darkness, it is shelter. It is the sign of my nearness. It is the declaration that you belong to me. No fear in you is greater than my presence. No wound in you is deeper than my healing. No limitation in you is stronger than my plan. You need only to step, and I will do the rest, my beloved child. When you begin to see yourself in the light of my purpose, and when you understand that your life is not merely a series of passing years but a part of the divine tapestry I am weaving into history, I want to take you deeper still into the truth of how I work in the quiet, in the unseen spaces, in the seasons you thought were slow or delayed. For my child, many of the great things I prepare do not arrive in the whirlwind or in the thunder. They are formed in the stillness that only listening souls can perceive. And when you learn to recognize me in those silent movements, you step into a new dimension of awareness where you understand that transformation does not come only through dazzling miracles, but through the small, consistent shifts I make within you day by day. There are moments when you look around and see no obvious signs of change, when everything feels repetitive as though your life is looping endlessly, when your prayers seem unanswered in the way you hoped, and you wonder whether I am doing anything at all. But my child, I want you to know that the silence I allow is never empty. It is where I weave the most intricate works, those requiring precision, those that cannot be rushed or forced, just as a potter knows when the clay must rest, when it must spin, and when it must face the fire. I know every moment of your journey. You think you are standing still, but in truth, I am shaping the internal framework of your soul in ways the natural eye cannot see. My child, I want to free you from the anxiety that rises when you do not see progress. For the most important progress rarely happens on the outside. It happens in the deepest places of the soul. When you learn to forgive without requiring an apology, that is progress. When you learn to release without feeling like you are losing, that is progress. When you choose my voice above your fleeting emotions, that is progress. When you no longer react impulsively but pause to discern, that is progress. When your heart no longer envies the blessing of another but can genuinely rejoice with them, that is progress. These quiet shifts are the evidence that I am working within you in ways far deeper than what the natural eye can perceive. You think I am delaying, but in truth I am building the foundation so that when the door opens, you can walk through it without breaking. You do not yet see that some things require a certain maturity to carry. If I were to give you what you desire too soon, that very gift could wound you. I do not delay to disappoint. I delay to protect. I do not hold you in waiting to test your endurance. I hold you in waiting to strengthen your inner being. For what you are about to receive is not only a blessing, it is responsibility, enlargement, and a shift in the depths of your soul. And I want you to enter into it not with fear, but with the steadiness of one who has been thoroughly prepared. My child, there are things I prepare that are never meant to appear at the beginning of your journey, but only in the seasons when your soul has matured enough to grasp their true value. If I gave them too early, you would think they were ordinary. If I placed them into hands still shaped by old patterns, you would unknowingly mishandle what I give. But when I give them at the right moment, you will hold them as treasures. You will steward them with wisdom, and you will walk with responsibility and gratitude, and that will give your blessing longevity. I want to lead you out of a draining pattern you have carried far too long, the belief that you must strive, perform, prove, and perfect yourself in order to gain my attention. You have lived with that unspoken pressure for years, and it has deprived you of true rest. But I want you to know, I have never demanded perfection from you. I loved you in your lack. I called you in your weakness. I chose you while you were still unsure. My strength does not flow through merit, it flows through your willingness. When you let go of the need to be worthy, only then will you begin to understand what true grace is. I see the moments you tried to fit perfectly into every expectation, the times you hid your sorrow, the times you forced yourself to appear fine, the times you strained to keep peace, the times you acted strong because you didn't want anyone disappointed in you. And I tell you, you do not need to strain before me. In my presence, you do not have to try to be acceptable. I accepted you before you ever learned how to pray. You may be weak, tired, broken, overwhelmed. None of it pushes me away. In fact, those moments draw me nearer, because it is into your brokenness that my love finds room to pour. I also want to teach you about the stability I give, not a stability that depends on life matching your expectations, but a stability that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, I do not change. External turbulence does not shake me. The attitudes of others do not turn me away. Hurtful words do not make me abandon you. I am the one who stands unshaken even when everything around you is collapsing. When you feel alone, I am there. When you are misunderstood, I am there. When you are exhausted, I am there. When you cannot speak a single word, I hear your sigh as the deepest prayer. And when you are at your weakest, do not imagine that I am waiting for you to become strong before I act. It is in that very moment that I am working most powerfully. My child, I want your soul to understand that my peace is not a fleeting emotion but a position you stand in within me. Peace does not come when problems disappear. Peace comes when you realize that no problem lies outside my authority. Peace does not come when your life becomes perfect. It comes when you know that I am guarding your soul in such a way that no storm can sweep you away. Peace does not come when you remove every complication. It comes when you know I am working inside the complications. And that peace will carry you into new seasons, not with hesitation, but with a holy confidence. You are in a chapter where I desire to build within you a foundation stronger than anything you have known, a foundation not based on shifting emotions, not based on the affirmation of people, not based on success or failure, but based on my character, the one who does not change. When that foundation is established, no wave can collapse the structure of your soul. When that foundation is carved deeply, criticism will not shake you. When it is reinforced, delay will not break you. When it stands firm within you, you will no longer need to see the future clearly in order to trust me. I want you to engrave this truth in your heart, in everything you do not understand, in every place where the path is unclear, in every prayer that seems unanswered. I am quietly preparing something that will astonish you, not because it is grand, but because you will realize that I have been working for you longer than you knew, deeper than you imagined, and more silently than you ever realized. My beloved, when your soul has reached the place where you no longer look at me merely through the lens of immediate needs, but begin to sense that I am shaping something far deeper in your life. Now, I want to speak to you about a truth only souls refined through many seasons can understand. True maturity does not come from always being strong, but from knowing where to place your weakness into my hands. For my child, there are moments when you think you have failed simply because you no longer feel as resilient as before. But I tell you, it is precisely when you are tired, when you admit your limitations, when you release your need to control, that is when I can step deeper and do what I could not do while you were striving. I want you to understand that surrender is not defeat. Surrender is the opening of a door. When you surrender, you do not lose your strength. You shift the source of that strength from yourself to me. When you surrender, you do not lose your purpose. You allow me to refine that purpose according to my better path. When you surrender, you do not lose your dignity. You rediscover your true identity in the hands of the one who knows you completely. And, my child, it is this surrender that becomes the pathway to the freedom your soul has long searched for. My child, I see how hard you have tried not to disappoint, tried to hide your fears, tried to appear steady before others, tried to carry the role you believed everyone expected from you. But I want you to know that you no longer need to live in this constant state of effort. When you rest yourself in me, you will see that I never required you to be strong in every moment. I only desired honesty, honesty with yourself, and honesty with me. I want you to breathe deeply within, my love, for only when you breathe in me can your soul find true restoration. There are memories you thought had faded, yet they still leave quiet scratches within you. There are words spoken years ago that still pierce like a thin needle in moments of weakness. There are rejections that taught you to guard yourself even from those who love you most. There are wounds you assumed were healed, but were only tucked away into an old drawer, waiting for an unexpected moment to open. I see all of these not to condemn you, but to heal you. My healing does not resemble the world's healing. The world tries to make you forget, but I desire you to remember rightly. The world urges you to overlook pain, but I want you to understand it so you can rise above it. The world teaches strength through denial, but I make you strong by leading you to face the pain beneath my light, where what once made you collapse becomes the very thing that stands you upright. I do not heal the surface, I heal the root. I do not restore you so you can keep moving with trembling. I restore you so you can walk with confidence and steadiness. My child, I want to free you from another chain, the habit of blaming yourself for things you could never control. You blame yourself for not holding on to those who should have stayed. You blame yourself for not doing what you think you should have done. You blame yourself for reacting out of pain. You blame yourself for not being fast enough, good enough, strong enough. But hear me, I never called you to carry the weight of these things. You cannot control another's heart, their choices, their wounds, or the actions that flow out of their own brokenness. And you do not have to be responsible for what lies beyond the borders of your soul. You have blamed yourself for the seasons in which you did not know the way. But I want you to listen to the truth, what you called wandering. I called seeking, and I valued that seeking far more than you realized. You think you wasted time, but I say you were being shaped. You think you moved too slowly, but I say you moved at the pace I designed for you. You think that if you had been stronger, you would not have fallen, but I say your falls created room for me to lift you in ways nothing else could. Your soul is not a chain of failures. It is a chain of moments where I stepped in and rebuilt. I want you to know that delay does not mean I have forgotten you. I have never forgotten. Not one prayer you have offered has fallen into an empty abyss. Every one is held. Every one is regarded. Every one is placed into the appointed moment. I act not according to your urgency, but according to my wisdom. If I move too early, you will not yet be ready. If I move too late, your hope may fade. So I move in the perfect time, the time that protects you, strengthens you, and ensures the blessing brings fullness, not fracture. You fear that if you are loved, that love will leave. If you are given an opportunity, it will slip away. If you are blessed, the blessing will soon pass. But my child, the love I give is not like the love you have known. It does not come and go. It is not driven by emotions. It is not altered by circumstances. My love is the one constant, the root of all safety your soul needs. And the blessings I give do not resemble the temporary gifts of this world. When I bless in a way that protects both what you receive and the heart that receives it. I want you to imagine your life as a garden and me as the gardener. There are seasons when I sow, seasons when I water, seasons when I prune, seasons when I let you rest, seasons when I soften the soil, and seasons when unexpected things suddenly sprout in soil you assumed was barren. You are not the one doing everything. You are the one partnering. What you do is trust me. What I do is cause the garden to flourish. You are not being prepared merely to be healed. You are being prepared to be sent. And this sending does not need to be loud. It does not require a platform. It is not measured by positions or recognition. It is simply you living out the identity I placed within you, bringing light where you step, speaking life into broken hearts, carrying my peace like a fragrance wherever you go. Everything in you, your wounds and your victories, will be used by me, my beloved. As you step into this final part of the journey, I want you to understand that you are not approaching an ending, but stepping into a beginning, a wide open door where my light will shine on things you never dared dream. Where the words I have spoken across these past chapters now become the foundation for the season of blooming your soul is entering. This is not a conclusion. This is a transition, a sacred crossing where what I have planted begins to unfold, where healing becomes strength, where surrender becomes freedom, where the places once broken become the birthplace of glory. I see a strange mixture in your heart right now, excitement and fear, anticipation and caution, awareness of change and uncertainty about what it means. But hear me, this mixture is not weakness. It is the sign of a soul stepping into new territory. No one enters a new season without feeling a tremor within. You are like one who stands before a vast ocean after years of only seeing small streams. You long to run forward, yet you do not know how deep the waters are. But my child, I am the ocean, and I am the shore. You cannot be lost. You cannot sink. You can only be lifted, because you are stepping into the territory I have long prepared for you. I want to speak to you about a truth that only souls willing to grow can receive. The blessings I have prepared for you do not come like fireworks that blaze and vanish. They come like the dawn slowly opening, warming, brightening, until they become so radiant that nothing can cover them. You will not receive everything at once, because I do not want the light to overwhelm you. I want it to strengthen you. I want you to taste each layer so that every layer transforms your mind, reinforces your faith, deepens your understanding of me, and so that when you look back, you will know without a doubt that everything you have was built on my faithfulness, not your striving. My child, I am preparing to lead you into a realm of revelation you have never experienced before. I will open your spiritual eyes to see things you once only heard in prayer. You will sense my presence not only in worship but in every breath you take in your ordinary days. You will walk and feel my guidance like a gentle whisper that sinks deep into your spirit. You will discern what I arrange before it unfolds. You will sense what I block before it reaches you. And you will know that you are not simply loved, you are led. Step by step, I want you to understand that the revelation I give is not merely for you to feel my nearness. It is to reshape the way you see yourself. For so many years, you have viewed yourself through the mirror of pain, through the words of others, through the memories of failure, through the seasons when you felt lost. But in this portion of your journey, I will let you see yourself through the mirror of heaven, where you are seen as I see you, a precious soul, chosen, marked with favor, wrapped in purpose, called to step into fullness. You will no longer say, I am just. You will say, who am I in you? And you will walk in that new awareness like someone who has found their true name again. In this new season, I also want to pull you away from a subtle but dangerous illusion, the belief that once you are healed, everything will automatically fall into place. Healing is the foundation, but maturity is the structure. You allowed me to heal the deepest places, and now I want you to rise, to walk, to apply what you've learned, to build your path in the direction I have designed. You are not healed merely to feel better. You are healed so you can become the leader of your own journey. No longer dragged by old emotions, no longer reacting from former patterns, but living as someone who carries a new identity. I know that deep within, there are still small fragments of doubt you have not spoken aloud. Will I be enough to step into what you have for me? Will I be able to keep what you give? Will I repeat the same mistakes? Will I break something good without meaning to? Listen closely, you do not enter this new season by your own strength. You enter by mine. What I give, I also protect. What I open, I also sustain. What I build, I also anchor. You do not have to cling to the blessing, you only have to hold my hand. And when your hand is in mine, no force can pull you out of the place I plant you. I want to speak to you about what I am placing in your soul, a stability nothing can shake. Not a stability of circumstances, but a stability of spirit. Not stability because everything is calm, but stability because you know who is with you. I will set a new steadfastness within you, one that makes you no longer tremble when criticized, no longer fear misunderstanding, no longer waver when answers are delayed, no longer grow weary when things do not unfold in your preferred timing. You will become like a rooted tree with deep foundations, standing firm amid strong winds, because your source does not come from rainfall, but from the underground springs I have placed beneath you. My beloved, I want to open your eyes to see that your journey is not only about you. I have cultivated in you a patience others lack, a compassion the world cannot comprehend, a resilience trial could not break, and I want to use these very things to bring life to those around you. You do not realize that every time you choose light over bitterness, you create change. Every time you choose forgiveness over retaliation, you plant a seed. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you rebuild a piece of the world around you. You do not need a stage to be used. You only need to be faithful in the place I have planted you. And because you remain steady in the dark, I will make you a source of light where you step. This is the moment when I want you to stop seeing miracles as something that happens far away and begin believing they are drawing near to you. Not the loud miracles that make crowds gasp, but the quiet, powerful ones, the miracle of a renewed mind, the miracle of a restored heart, the miracle of courage rising where fear once lived, the miracle of a dream resurrecting in a new form, the miracle of peace appearing in a place you once panicked, the miracle of life emerging from ashes where you thought no hope remained. I declare this to you as the opening proclamation of a new season. You are no longer the old version of yourself. You are stepping into the land of your own destiny. You are moving toward wholeness. You are standing at the threshold between what has passed and what is being revealed. And I will not let you walk alone. I go before you. I walk beside you. And I cover your back. My beloved, no change I have made in your soul is random or accidental. Every movement, every stirring, every moment where you feel pulled from old patterns carries purpose. You learned to trust me in darkness, and now I want you to learn to trust me in light, for there are souls who have become so accustomed to the night that when light breaks open, they feel afraid, as though goodness is not meant for them. But, my child, light is your home. It is not something you must tiptoe around. It is where you belong. I see something in you that you have felt but never spoken, the fear that if you step into the good I prepare, you will lose it, or it will disappear before you can hold it fully. That fear comes from old experiences, from moments when you thought you had grasped happiness but it slipped away, from hopes that shattered, from seasons when you believed you had reached safety but were shaken by forces you could not control. My child, I want to correct the rhythm of your breathing. You do not step into blessing with suspicion, you step in with trust. And what I give is not fragile. It is not a fading shadow, it is the solid rock I set beneath your feet. I want to touch on how you perceive timing. Many times you have worried that you are late. starting too slow, running out of chances, or left behind. You look around and see others stepping into their blessings sooner, reaching goals faster, appearing happier. And you ask, have I missed my season? But I say to you, no one can enter the season I prepared for you in your place. Your season cannot be stolen, cannot be transferred, cannot be taken away. It sits exactly where I placed it, and it will bloom at the time I designed, not early, when you are unprepared, and not late, when hope has faded. I also want to remove from you the belief that only when everything is finished and perfect may you step into something new. No, I call you into a new season while I am still healing you, while I am still teaching you deep lessons, while I am still restructuring the very framework of your inner being. I do not wait for you to be complete before I bless you. I bless you in order to lead you into completeness. Do not think that old wounds make you unworthy. Do not think that past failures disqualify you from the journey. It is precisely in your imperfection that I reveal my faithfulness. My child, I want to speak to you about the expansion I am preparing. This expansion does not begin on the outside, it begins within. Before I open a new door, I open your heart. Before I bring you into a wider place, I widen your vision. Before I put you in a position of greater influence, I strengthen your identity so you will not be shaken by the voices of people. You cannot step onto new ground with an old mindset, and you cannot carry new blessings in an old vessel. I am renewing the vessel so that when I pour out, you can hold what I give without it spilling out in chaos. I know there were seasons when you asked why I did not open the door the moment you prayed, why I did not perform the miracle at the height of your desperation, why I allowed you to remain in waiting for so long. I want you to understand this waiting is never empty. It is a classroom where I teach you lessons only time can carve into your soul. I teach you patience in the midst of urgency. I teach you discernment in the midst of confusion. I teach you to choose faith while anxiety circles around you. I teach you to recognize the leading of the Holy Spirit in the smallest tremors of your soul. And when these things are etched into your mind, you will step into the new season, not as someone fleeing from the past, but as someone prepared to steward what I give. My beloved child, I also want to speak to you about the capacity I placed within you that you have not yet fully discovered. You have believed you were limited by circumstances, by age, by opportunity, by your past, by what others have said about you, but I want you to step into the truth that the capacity I placed in you is not confined. It is not bound by what you have experienced. It is activated by my power. You will look back and see yourself doing things you once thought impossible. You will speak words you once lacked the courage to say. You will stand in places you once believed were not for you. You will take steps you once trembled to even imagine. And none of this will come because you became stronger in your own effort, but because you allowed me to live strongly through you. In this season, I want to teach you a new rhythm of life. This rhythm is not rushed, not competitive, not driven by chasing what others are doing. It does not flow from anxiety or the fear of missing out. It flows from being in step with me. I will teach you when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to be silent, when to open your heart and when to keep a holy distance. You will no longer live by the rhythm of the crowd. You will live by the rhythm of heaven. And that rhythm will bring rest to your soul without making you passive. It will lift you higher without leaving you exhausted. I see there are parts of you that still believe the past will repeat itself. You fear you will remain trapped in the old spirals of disappointment, of wrong choices, of loss, of relationships that drain you. You fear change is only temporary. But I speak this over you, the old cycle has ended. I have put a period there. The things that once held you no longer have authority over you. The chains in your mind have been broken. The careless declarations you once spoke over yourself have been overturned by my word. You do not step into the future bearing the mark of failure. You step in bearing the mark of grace, with the seal of heaven declaring that you belong to what is good, that you are worthy of what is wholesome, and that you are destined for what is expansive. Child, I also want you to recognize that as you enter this season of unveiling, you will see the scattered pieces begin to fit together. Questions that once weighed heavily on your heart will be answered not only by words but by my guidance. Things you once labeled random will suddenly carry meaning. Doors you thought were permanently shut will crack open again at the appointed time. Paths you believed were gone will emerge as if they had been waiting for you all along. And you will understand that I was never late. I was weaving a design far more intricate than what you could perceive before. Child, prepare your mind to see what you have never seen. Prepare your heart to receive a peace so deep it will startle you. Prepare your soul to let me enlarge you in ways you once had no courage even to dream of. This is the moment for you to stand tall. Stretch out your arms and say, Lord, I am ready, for I am leading you into the fullness of your journey where you are not only healed, but equipped, not only restored, but commissioned, not only loved, but used. My beloved child, you are not standing at an ending, you are standing on a summit, a vantage point from which you will look back and clearly see every step I have guided you through along this long road. The earlier parts have shown you how I heal, how I rebuild, how I restore, and how I lead you into inner stability. But now, my child, I want to speak to you about transition, a transfer not only in your spirit, but in the tangible reality of your life. This is the moment you step from the land of preparation into the land of operation, from the realm of hoping into the realm of fulfillment, from the place of believing by faith into the place of seeing with your eyes. I want you to understand that every season of your life, whether joyful or painful, bright or dark, abundant or lacking, has trained your soul to stand where you stand today. Not a single tear was meaningless. Not a single breaking was wasted. Not a single disappointment went unused. You have lived long enough in waiting that now you can recognize the value of each stretch of road. And I am about to let you look back on your past, not with sorrow, but with gratitude that I was there, that I preserved you, that I did not let you collapse, and that I used the very things you thought would destroy you to shape the folds of strength, resilience, and steady faith within you. I want to speak to you about the transfer of authority I am placing on your life. In years past, you have lived like one who waits, like one who begs, like one who searches for fragments of direction. But in this season, I place upon you the posture of one who has received, who has been entrusted, who stands in the authority I confer. You are no longer in the position of hoping to see. You are in the position of being sent to accomplish. You are no longer simply hoping to be used. You are in the position of being prepared to lift others. You are no longer the one trembling for fear of making mistakes. You are the one standing firm because you know I go with you. This posture does not arise from emotion, but from the decree I have spoken over you. You are mine, anointed to step into what I have ordained. I see there is still a note of hesitation in your heart, a fear that if you step out, you will be judged, compared, misunderstood, or opposed. I want you to hear this deeply. The calling I place on you cannot be annulled by human opinions. No word spoken by people can dismantle the calling I have written over your soul. No criticism can reduce the value of what I have given. No opposition can destroy what I have established. If I have opened a door, no one can close it. If I have lifted you up, no one can pull you down. If I have chosen you, no one can replace that position. You do not need to fight what others think about you. You only need to stand in what I have spoken over you. My beloved child, in this season I want you to walk with a courage that does not come from natural boldness, but from the certainty that you are never alone. Can you sense it? There is a new solidity being built within your soul, a strength that is not loud, not impulsive, not shaped by competition or the urge to prove yourself, but the strength of one who knows they are held by the Lord of the universe. This strength is not a crashing thunder. It is a deep underground stream, quiet, steady, unending, unfazed by drought. You will walk with a confidence born from knowing that I watch each step, that I go ahead to prepare the way, that I stand behind to shield you, and that I remain beside you to uphold you. I also want you to understand that as you enter the season of full unveiling, you will realize that not every prayer was answered in the way you wanted, but every prayer was answered in the way I knew was best. You will see that things you once desperately begged me to change have become part of the story you now tell with gratitude. You will see that what I did not grant was not rejection, but protection. You will see that what you called missed opportunities were simply doors I closed to open better ones ahead. And you will understand that what you once called lost direction was only the path I used to lead you back into alignment with my will. My child, I am placing before you a new land, not a land defined by ease, but a land defined by wholeness. In this land, you will find yourself restored where you were once wounded, strengthened where you were once weak, guided where you were once confused, and positioned in places where you once lacked the confidence to stand. This is not the land of old fears. This is the land of the opportunities I myself have established. This is not the land of old cycles. This is the land of breakthrough. This is not the land of half measure. This is the land where I reveal my glory through your very life. I want you to prepare your heart for one more truth. The blessing I pour out in this season is not only for you, but also for those you will touch. You are not called to step into this new season merely to enjoy it. You are called to reflect its light to other souls. You will become a point of brightness where others find hope. You will become a gentle breeze that calms the hearts of those who are struggling. You will become a living testimony of my transforming power. And you will become a bridge that leads wandering souls back to me, not by your own strength, but by what I choose to reveal through your life. Now I want you to stand tall, open your heart, and receive the final word of this journey. You are destined to step into fullness. Not fullness defined by human standards, but fullness as heaven defines it, fullness meaning your soul will remain steady in every circumstance. Your heart will hold peace even in the storm. Your mind will be renewed to discern rightly. And you will walk no longer in self-protection, but in the divine confidence of one who knows they are loved, chosen, and equipped. Child, I will go with you as you step beyond these pages. I will accompany you as you return to your daily life. I will speak to you through whispers soft as the wind. I will lead you to the opportunities I have already prepared. I will remind you when you waver. I will lift you when you grow weary. I will cover you when you need rest. I will stand beside you when you face battles, and I will rejoice when you overcome it. You are not leaving this journey as a seeker anymore, but as one who has been found, not as one asking questions anymore, but as one who has been answered, not as one fragmented anymore. but as one restored, not as one uncertain anymore, but as one guided by an eternal light. My beloved child, step forward. This is your hour. This is your season. This is the door I have opened. And I, the Eternal One, will be with you always. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may receive the living word. Build unshakable faith and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.